everybody. We want to welcome you guys once again to Real Speaks to Real. It's PK.
And I'm Linnea.
And we are just excited, guys, to have our second podcast.
And we are welcoming with us Ruby Gld Smoke, which is comprised of Danny, Joe, and TL. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for having us.
We are so excited to have you. And we know that you all are a couple working together, putting out music, putting out film, and just kind of in the creative outlet and industry. And we just kind of wanted to talk about it and see what's on the horizon for you guys. So we just appreciate your time today.
Man, thank you for having us. You know, we definitely let us talk about it. And congratulations on the podcast, you know.
Oh, thank you so much.
Definitely.
So give us a little bit of your backstory. How did you guys come together?
Well, it's funny because we came together working, right? So we were both he was headlining at the Black Women's Expo. And I was choreographing and dancing for another artist. Okay. And so we kind of met just backstage, and the vibe was right, and we've never stopped talking since that day. So and that's how we met.
So when was that?
That was 2014.
Okay.
That was 2014. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was the beginning of everything we're doing.
Wow. So Tia, you were already recording music.
Yeah. I was I had put out a few albums as a solo artist before we got started officially as Ruby Gld Smoke. And even with those solo records, Danny Joe was there in the studio co-writing or co-producing joints. But we came out officially as a group last year. And but yeah, I was a solo artist before then. Folks might, know some of my music songs like Getting More Money Than You and Melanin, You Got It. Those are songs from like my first few solo albums.
Right.
And that's 2014 is like when we met.
Yeah.
And it was it was beautiful.
And I think what was the most beautiful part for me was that he was so big and I didn't know because I wasn't aware, right? Mm-hmm. And when you meet someone backstage, you might feel like as a celebrity or someone that's on the stage, you may feel like, okay, they just trying to be a groupie. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like he really got to know who I was, and I got to know who he was because I didn't have the context at first.
As a man, that's kind of intriguing, right? What I'm saying? Everybody know the record, then you meet that one woman that's like, I don't know about that.
Right. So it kind of drew you to her that she was like different from like all the others.
Yeah.
It didn't throw you off the game though.
No, because you know what it was? I remember the days we met, and I was in such a mode of like selling my record, you know what I mean? Like I was in such a mode that I was like, that's fine. Look, it's like this. So
It was like some cool moments where he was like selling his record to me before he performed, right? And I was like, oh, I love this song. I like this song. It should be on the radio. He was like, it is. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then when when he performed, and it was crazy people there, and everybody was chanting the music, and I'm the only one not chanting. I felt left out. Wow. And so I went backstage and I was like, yo, you are amazing. Like, seriously. Yeah. And I went into detail why I thought he was amazing. And he just cut me off and was like, hey, would you like to take a picture? And then I was like, okay. And he took the picture. He's like, what's your number so I can send it to you? And so he definitely wasn't off his game.
You gotta seize the moment.
Nice. But that was good too, because there was like no pretense involved and you got to know him for him. And I'm sure that T.O., you appreciated that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did, because I didn't, the same thing happened in the reverse way as well, where I didn't know she was famous right off the bat too, right? Award-winning choreographer. You know, the time we met, award-winning choreographer.
Oh wow!
Was doing a residency at the Harold Washington Theater. You know, did choreography for Joffrey Ballet in Chicago, and you know what I'm saying. But that's she was like me. It didn't come up right at the beginning, you know. Then I went to a couple of shows and I got my mind right.
There you go.
I was like, oh, okay, I see what
you were dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah, you both. It's good because it was like you were both accomplished in your own right, and then you were able to come together. I mean, were you like? Was it hard previously then having relationships because you guys were so driven and accomplishing so much? This was kind of just like the perfect person at the perfect time.
Yeah, I definitely can attest to that, because being a woman, a lot of people or a lot of guys that I was meeting didn't like ambition, you know, and that was totally different with TL. He loved the ambition, and he loved the drive and the motivation. Our conversations were on a different level because of it, and that's what I knew I needed.
Yeah.
Danny, I wanted to ask you a question real quick. So then because a lot of people, they want to make like a shift in their careers, and choreographing is different from actually singing. So like, what was that transition like for you?
Man, it's funny you asked me that. That's a great question. The transition continues to happen every day, but what that moment of transitioning, a lot of people don't know that as I had been dancing for a long time, since I was 3. And in dancing, I also would sing around my family only. And my uncle, who passed away, he would always say, "Baby, sing me Amazing Grace," or "Sing me this," you know. And I'd sing it to him. He's like, "I want you to sing at my funeral." And when he passed, that was my first time singing, which was like 3-4 years ago.
It was like 2015,
and
2015.
We sang together.
So that was our first time singing together, was at our uncle's funeral.
So that transition was like, oh my God, I actually love doing this. Oh my God, this is what he saw in me. Oh, you know, I was just realizing that I really liked singing all this time, but I wouldn't show the world. Right. So that transition was a lot of identity and self-love, and, you know, actually exploring more of myself. And when I brought it to TL, he was like, you know, I think that'd be dope, but what about if we did it together?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, huge. Oh, yes.
That's really huge.
So it sounds like that was the moment when Ruby Gld Smoke was formed.
Yes.
Yeah. That's basically it. I had an idea, even in my own solo artistry. I had this idea, because I produce and write for other people as well. So I had this idea of a male and female duo, especially, you know, our color. You know what I mean? There's, you know, when you think about male and female like duos, you know, we can kind of count the number of male and female duos that's Black on one hand. You know, in the entire history of pop music.
Sure.
You know, what are we talking about? Ashford and Simpson.
That's what popped in my mind first.
Right? You got Renee and Angela. You got Kendrick the Family Soul. Who that's came out? Coffee Brown. You know, right? You can count them almost on one hand, right? But like at any given time, you know, there's about 3 or 4 white ones out at any given time at the same time, you know. It's just more accepted there. And not that we don't like doing it, but it's just like you don't see this a lot. You don't see that type of format a lot. And I was ready to kind of just take things to the next level. You know, I love all types of music. And so that was an idea I had, and I was hoping that she would you know, rock with it, because I know that her dreams were her dreams.
Right.
So you don't know if she want to kind of do it solo or not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was with it, and it
I
was
was
kind of
like-
like
Testament to your relationships too, because I mean, what were you guys at that stage? Were you dating, or what stage were you in when that kind of formed?
So we started dating in 2014. We got married in 2016. So we're already husband and wife by that point.
Okay. Yeah. And that's a
and we're already
testament to your relationship, because a lot of times, even if you are at the point of being, married, you're not willing to make yourself that vulnerable to the other person. I mean, even for Danny to say, hey, look, I have this thing. It sounds kind of crazy. I've never sang in front of people before, but I think I could do this. What do you think? And then for you to not just only think about yourself and what you have going on, but say, hey, this is something I want to share. That's huge.
It's a leap of faith. It's a leap of faith.
Yeah. I realized over time how hard it was for her to initially come to me about this.
Yeah.
It's a dream she had, when we met. She had it for years.
Yeah.
But it's one thing to come to anybody and say you seriously want to pursue a music career, and it's another thing to say that to your husband, and your husband is already prominent in the industry, right?
Yeah.
So
what did it take to get to that point, Danny?
First of all, I was nervous. I was so nervous because he knows this, that I look at him as like the modern day Prince.
Oh,
and
wow.
so
That's huge.
So I was kind of nervous to even tell him. I was like, he probably gonna laugh at me. Like, I've never sang in front of people. He's like probably gonna be like, you got a lot of work to do, And the one thing was I knew I was willing to do the work. So with that in mind, that was the strength that I had, was like, because I know I'm willing to do the work, and I've been in the studio with him all this time, being, a ghostwriter, helping with it, going to all of his concerts, helping with all of that. Like, I've been supportive the whole time. I knew that it took a lot of work. Right. So I knew, okay, being the support, I know it take a lot of work. And then I'm his wife. So every time he does a show, I know what's going on. I know what he has to go through. So I knew it took a lot of work. So I felt like going to him about it would be okay once I let him know, yeah, I understand it takes a lot of work, and I'm willing to do whatever it is, whether that's starting from ground zero. I don't want to do it off your back. That's what I was really, wanting him to know. And to know that he was like, yeah, I want you to do it with me. Yeah. Was like, what?
I know a lot of people like in that position is so much like fear that just holds them back and grips them and kind of keeps them stuck in one spot. But for somehow you were able to just let go of that fear and take that leap of faith. What would you tell like your fans that follow you? What would you tell them to encourage them? Like if they're feeling like they're trapped or they're stuck and they don't know like what the first step is to have that change or transition that they're searching for, looking for?
I would say, do it for God, do it for you. That's it. That's all you need to do it for. Don't worry about what nobody else think about it. You know what I mean? I that the story she just told. The story she just told, that was me on the other side. It was like it was like when Michael Jordan was playing baseball.
Right.
And it was like, I was like, okay, and picture me like I won a couple World Series, in baseball, right? And then here comes Michael Jordan, and it's like, okay, Mike, yeah, you the greatest over there,
right.
But
stay in your lane,
over
Mike.
This is something different.
This sport uses a whole set of muscles that you wasn't using over there.
Right.
Yep. You ain't just because you right over there don't mean it's gonna translate over here. I definitely wanted to make I wanted to make sure like she know that is, you know, because I know her, and I know she's very serious about her passion, right? So I wanted her to know it's very serious over here. Right. It ain't just gone just because you know me or it's just gonna translate.
Right.
You got to put in the same amount of work that I put in, or people, my peers put in. At the same time, though, one of the things and one of the reasons I thought it'd be great for us to be a group was I didn't want her as my wife. I didn't want her to have to try to go through it by herself and start from square one by herself, especially when I got leverage and things where I can help expedite the process if we do it together. You know what I mean?
And I think what you said right there is a big piece too to what holds some people back is the lack of support.
Yeah.
You know, but you gave her like that safe spot to land on, and knowing that your best friend is rocking with you makes the transition easier.
Yeah.
I would be in the industry and guys would have wives, and they, you know, I would watch as the wife would have to forge her own career, and I'm like, but you're married to, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That should be easy. I've been in situations where, I've produced for wives of other artists, and the other artists is like not involved. In the or we've produced for wives or girlfriends of other artists, and that other artist is like nowhere near the project. Right. You know, I didn't want that
lack of support. Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought that was weird.
Yeah, it's a partnership in every way, right? Yeah. And so I think that's a big piece to your story, and you even saying that about how it's not like that everywhere is sad. It's sad, but I think that's kind of what makes you all unique and what makes you different.
Yeah.
That's probably why it works.
Yeah. But I would definitely let people know, like, you got to believe in what you want to do and what God put you here for.
Even when no one else believes it, you start believing it. You got to be the first person to believe in it.
Amen.
Believe in yourself.
Amen.
Yeah, that doubt. It's easy for us to doubt the things that we think we don't have, or that we don't understand, right? Because we always think that, you know, there's a natural order to things, but God is not bound by that. So if he's put something in you, he's going to work it out the way it's supposed to be done.
Yeah. So then, so what does the name Ruby Gld Smoke mean? Like, what does that mean? How did you come up with that? What's the story behind it?
There must be a juicy story the way you're looking.
Would you believe we just had a conversation about, what's our name gonna be? And we just started coming up with cool stuff to say. And that's basically how we, that's basically how we did it. Go ahead, you want to talk about
it? Yeah, that's we literally was like, okay, let's have this meeting about our name. And
we literally sat there and was like, what we gonna name ourselves?
like one juicy thing for me was that we went through, we were calling ourselves something totally different even before we put music out, right? And our Instagram handle, which was different. It wasn't Ruby Gld Smoke, right? But people didn't know that that's what was happening, right? And so we was like, you know what? Let's sit down and really figure out what our name is, because we're about to do this for real, right? And so it's funny, you know, like we both consider ourselves royalty, and you know, Ruby and Gold, like that's, you know, the jewels. But Ruby is my birthstone. Okay. I'm a July baby, a summer baby. It's my birthstone. It's also has so many other things, you know, Ruby in the Bible, as well as Ruby. His mom's nickname is Ruby, and she and her husband were a group, you know, his parents.
Oh, wow.
Group as well. and she was the lead singer of the group, and her name was Caprice, but her nickname is Ruby.
Right.
And so he loves gold, not love it, but you know, he likes gold.
I like gold.
And
Hey, we all
so,
do.
so I'm Ruby, he's gold, and together, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire.
That's right.
So we fire together.
I love
That's
it.
it.
And it's unique. It's definitely unique.
I love it. So as you all are together in this music and in your production company, how do you all complement each other?
That's a really good question. It's funny. we were having like kind of like a discussion about this after one of our rehearsals.
She always right. Is basically
that's
how we just
nice.
work.
I like
out.
that.
That's just how it is, bro.
Nice.
Honey do.
Yes.
Story of our lives. Story of our lives.
That was the correct answer.
I realized that's what they get done, basically. Now I'm playing with you. I'm just serious.
Right? So no, we were vibing at one of the things we were talking about was how in our relationship, or if we're on the stage or whatever, it's all about just the vibe. Like we notice, like we might do the same thing without even trying to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. You know, he might have his leg up and my leg up, and I'm like, why you copying me? And he's like, you copying me because God made me first. Right. You know, so yeah, complimenting each other. It feels so natural.
Right.
It's just like I'm the girl version of him and he's the guy version of me. So
musically, we're fans of the same type of music, you know. You know, one of the things that you can see from us. And so when we're working on a record, I don't think we hardly ever have two different vibes of one record. We always usually lock in.
Yeah.
And it seems too like you guys are fans of each other, which is big.
Right.
Yeah.
Huge. It's no competition, you know?
Yeah.
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 It's that. Yeah. It's exactly it.
Yeah. But I'm as personality wise, I'm like really soft and sweet, and he's like hardcore.
Yeah.
Because it go ahead.
Oh, I was just say it's just compliments. It just works, you know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of couples. I mean, they say even during COVID, like in China, the divorce rate has gone up. So let alone it's probably hard, like even just working together, you know, let alone being married. What has like being married or working together taught you guys like about yourselves?
For me, great question. For me, it taught me a lot about patience and of course communication, and understanding the strength and the beauty of those two things in particular. And it taught me to, like, I definitely got to know her on a whole new level. Her ambition, which I knew, but then, like I said, I learned it again on a whole new level. You know, it's like falling in love again. You know, it definitely, you taught me some things about discipline as well.
Yeah. Well, for me, those same things, but I would add tone. It taught me about how to, because in business, you may have a different tone than in your marriage.
Right.
And sometimes when you're doing something business-wise, that tone, if it spills over to your marriage, it doesn't work.
Right.
So I specifically had to learn how to make sure they were different, you know, because your tone can kind of mix up your intentions. Yeah. So you might say something and you don't mean it, you know, sternly, but it comes off like that way because you've been working with them. You just got through doing some business and now we talking about something else, you know. So just tone is so important because that shows what you mean. Yeah.
And to that point too, I say organization, right? Being organized with that schedule. Like, all right, this is work time. This is
day.
Spouse time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's important to delineate that, because I think a lot of times, I mean, even for couples who don't work together, having that separate time that you take and you're purposeful about in building the relationship is hard to come by. And so I can imagine that if, you know, and work kind of bleeding over, if you're not purposeful about that, then, you know, it won't happen. And you'll look up and your marriage has started to whittle away while the business has grown. Yeah. So being intentional, I'm sure, is huge.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big chunk of it. That's a big chunk of it.
Good. Well, tell us a little bit about Quiet Kingdom Media.
Rick, you get. Okay. I go ahead. Quiet Kingdom Media Group is the business that we started. You know, we're not only artists, but we do music production for other people and songwriting. You know, we produce and write other people's stuff as well. And so we came up with the brand for it. You know, this kind of the company to house all of that, those services for other folks as well. And Quiet Kingdom Media Group is it's a production hub, and it's a agency, a content creation agency. So our filmmaking, our music production, all the content that we do for ourselves and others kind of come from that company. It's that company that produces that content for people.
Okay, nice. And so you guys have projects in the works and different things coming out?
Yes, we do. Working with a lot of clients. Some of them we can't name right now because it's in the process.
You're still working on it, yeah.
And then, you know, some of them you may know.
Yeah, you know, y'all, you know, definitely being from Chicago, y'all probably know Slick. Yeah, we got some things coming with him. Working with some really cool people. Again, we can't.
I know you're trying to go through
that one. It's good to see that we have African American artists who are coming together, especially locally. You know, especially our city, our state doesn't always get the best rap, but knowing that we have a lot of talent, we have a lot of creative people, and we can work together, and we can come together, and we can produce. I mean, that's huge. And so even having that and creating that is a great testament to, like I said, coming together and working together and valuing the importance of the talents in other people.
Yeah, indeed. We can't say some of the artists we have worked with before.
Okay.
We just recently Selena Johnston's album that came out last year. We produced about 5 joints.
Oh wow.
Saya from I believe it's Women in Hip Hop, did Women in Hip Hop show. We did a couple of joints for her as well. Shauna, y'all know Shauna from DTP. Yeah. So you know, a wide range, right?
And it sounds like you guys got your hands in like so many different things and crazy busy.
Yeah. What has been the most challenging part of this journey that you're on?
Most challenging part. I don't really know. That's hard.
It's fun a lot. So I mean, you know, like I learned from my dad. Like he used to tell me, you know, you want to do what you love. You know, I heard somebody say like do something that in your career, do something that you don't have to take a vacation from.
That's huge. Yeah.
Because what you do is fun. You know, it's truly, it ain't a whole lot. I think it's more so like, I think it's more so like what we talked about in the previous thing you asked us about you know, what are the things you learn? You know, maintaining that discipline.
Yeah.
You know, that patience, that communication, that discipline, and of course the work ethic.
Yeah.
Of course,
I would say that because of the pandemic, it was challenging to, you know, put out everything and just be inside the whole time. Right, wanting to connect with people, you know. After our first single came out, we were like, yeah, I want to go have a party and say hello to everybody, and you know, and you couldn't do that. So that was the challenging part. Like, everybody got introduced to Ruby Gld Smoke during a pandemic. So so nobody's actually touched us, you know.
When you guys are like writing your music, and like, what is your inspiration? Like
we always write about love. Love and life.
I was gonna say you're probably sitting next to your inspiration.
You're looking at her. Love, life, hunger. You know, chemistry. You know, of course we have musical inspirations too, you know. As artists, we have musical inspirations, and ours is pretty diverse, you know. We're inspired by artists past, present, you know, everybody from Prince to Kobe Calais to Erykah Badu to Coldplay to the Isley Brothers to the, you know, our range is wide, and you know, I'm sure you can hear that in music, you know.
For sure.
Because I saw like in an interview you guys talked about how, like, even in your music it's like love letters to each other.
And it's fun because during the sessions we it's like therapy, you know.
I believe it.
It's therapy. Like, those words that you hear us singing is not like, oh, we just put this together and sang them. No, like, we went through some of this stuff, or we're in the studio talking about having these love conversations.
Right.
You know,
letters to God, love letters to each other, and revelations about life.
And that opens up, like, you guys giving voice to those feelings probably help a lot of other people who might not be so vulnerable or might not be so willing to give voice to that. And I know, you know, in relationships, as we mentioned before, it can be hard to open up in that way. But I'm sure that having that communication with you all musically helps out having the communication between you all in your relationship as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And one of the perks, or one of the things that I felt was so great after we came out with our album was someone contacted me and said this has really helped their marriage.
Oh, wow.
And that was just like, oh, if I don't care who hears that, as long as it's helping somebody, you know, it's done its job, you know. And so they were like, you know, this has helped my marriage, has helped me communicate and get closer to my husband. And I was like, well, amen.
I feel like, you know, in marriage, that is one of the things that I think people don't realize is so hard when you're married to somebody. We've been married for 16 years. And I think that, you know, we've known each other since junior high, but I think that is one thing that we've really had to work hard at, is saying the things that you don't necessarily want to say or want to tell somebody. And, you know, I always tell him, if we're in the midst of something heated or whatever, we won't split up because I won't have the hard conversation. That's not what this is going to be. And so I think that that people don't realize how hard that is to communicate with somebody who you love so much and who you feel like knows you so well.
Yeah.
Indeed. Also, like that, and also, you know, that touched me too, where a fan was like, hey, this helped me in my thing. I as a man, I learned that from being married, how many, I noticed how many women we know in our network or our circle that looked at our marriage and got something from that. And so I felt this sense of responsibility to be the best man that I could be. Because you know, I mean, it's not just, of course, it's affecting my wife, but it's also inspiring.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
right.
Women all around the world, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's not often discussed how important it is and how influential marriage can be when it's strong, when it's right. Yeah. So that's
it's not something that we see as much. Not only that, I think
the representation of it.
Yes, and I think with social media, you know, we put out our nicely photoshopped pictures,
and it's not reality.
But we don't talk about like what's the glue, what's the part that's kind of making me get through COVID with you, because we're quarantining together, right?
Right.
Helping me get through having kids with you, or you know, working together, all that stuff, because
which is another layer.
Yeah, that's the day by day stuff that, you know, ultimately I think, you know, our society has kind of moved away from the concept of marriage and away from the concept of being with one person, but ultimately, you know, we are each other's best support, and we're on the same team. And I think sometimes with everything that is attacking us at life, that can get hard to remember.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. Seeing that and emulating that for other people is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what is coming on the horizon for Ruby Gld Smoke?
Yeah.
We're finishing up the book. So
there's a book.
Yeah. So our debut album, Revolutionary Love, is out now, and we're working on a book of affirmations, you know, based off the songs and the music of Revolutionary Love. Okay. And you know, we're looking for a second quarter release date. And so yeah, we got that coming up. And then of course
we have our virtual concert called Revolutionary Love Virtual Concert. And that is February 28th. You can get your tickets on viewstub.com. And so it's a virtual experience. Viewstub.com. You can search Ruby Gld Smoke and it'll come up, or you can put in viewstub.com/RGS Revolutionary Love Live. RGS Revolutionary Love Live.
Awesome. Well, I know that the album is on Spotify. It's on where are all the platforms, because we've been listening to it on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's on all it's everywhere music is provided. So all digital service platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, etc. And is there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So February 28th.
Save the date.
Sunday, 7 p.m.
Sunday, February 28th, 7 p.m.
We'll be there tuning in. And we're excited for you guys. And thank you guys for just being so open and vulnerable. And you don't know how many people you guys are actually helping right now, just from the testimonies of your lives and what all you guys have been through. So thank you so much for being vulnerable.
Oh,
no problem. Thank you for having us, and thank you for having a platform to discuss this, to discuss these things and spotlight these things. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes, we appreciate it. We hope to connect some more in the future and keep us posted on what is coming down the pipe.
Will do.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much.
Hey, at this time, we want to thank everybody for tuning in to Real Speaks to Real. If there's anybody out there and perhaps you feel like there's certain things that you want to accomplish in life and you have not yet took that leap of faith, I hope this podcast has encouraged you that you have nothing to lose. All right, go ahead, fulfill your dreams. We have one life to live, and you can do it. All right.
What's that, T.O.? You said do it for God and do it for yourself. Is that what you said?
And that's it.
Amen.
That's it.
Amen. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.